Hello, I'm Robert, and I want to try and help a bit with people who are panic buying food and hoarding. Just to explain, it's totally unnecessary, there's no need for it at all. And first of all, I think it's quite a natural reaction. When you're panicking about something, when we used to be hunter-gatherers, then if it was something, we're worried about something, naturally you go on and you start looking for food. You try and make sure you've got plenty of food to tide over bad times. And it's probably right in our DNA somewhere. And in summer, then we gather together food for the winter. You grow your crops, and then if you hunt together, you're doing other things. You're making your woolly clothes for the winter, or your fur clothes, and so on. And it's just a natural reaction when you're very scared, and when you're thinking about your future. Not necessarily scared, just when you're wondering, how is my future going to be? How can I make sure that my future is going to be safe? Then you start thinking, have I got all the clothes I need? Have I got all the food I need? And so it's a natural reaction, and so please don't be too harsh on these people who do that. They're not really being selfish, they're just panicking. It's a reaction of panicking, just like some people vomit when they panic, and some people go and panic buy. And some people eat a lot. So it's just a natural reaction. If you're very scared, then one people who get very scared, then they panic eat. Maybe some of you have experienced that. So this is not unlike that. So I just want to explain, first of all, to try and deal with this idea of panic that you need lots of food. It's just to remind everyone that you don't, lots of people may think that if they haven't thought about it, or many of us have never had a single day without food for our entire life, ever since we were a baby. Every day, regularly, we have food. Many of us have had breakfast, lunch, supper, or breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever you call it, every single day of our life. Ever since we were eating solid foods, then we were having regular meals, sometimes more often as we were a child, of course. And then you're suddenly faced with a prospect. You think it's not true, but you think that we might run out of food, and you might have a day without food. And then you just think, I'm going to die. I'm going to have a day without food. I'm going to die. That's the end of my life. And then you go into the shop and you buy lots of food because you're afraid you're going to have a day without food. And then those of us who have fasted, so I've fasted a few times, and if you're used to fasting, then you soon realize that you can actually go for a long time without food. And so I used to do, I'm not doing it anymore, I used to do regular fasts every Sunday at one point. And I just a day without food, and it felt good. And I didn't get tired or anything. I was going around doing all my usual thing, banging away at things, whatever it was I was doing, playing music or whatever, and walking, running, anything. And it's no different from a day when you're not eating food, not once you're used to it. But even if you're not going to die of not eating food unless you're very, very anorexic, or you've got some serious medical condition. And of course diabetics have to be careful about their food and when they take it, and it's not very good for a diabetic to fast unless they know what they're doing. But for most people, it just you've got to you're hardly going to notice for one day, except you might feel hungry. But if you go into a fast, then to start with you're missing your breakfast, but after a while you don't feel hungry anymore. At least many people don't. And then after 2 to 3 days, you get used to not having food. And after about 3 days, your body starts eating its fat. And so this varies depending on how much fat you've got. So if you've got lots of fat, then you can last a lot longer just on the fat reserves in your body. And fat is very concentrated energy, and you can last for ages and ages on your body fat. So it takes you can only last about 3 days on your glucose levels, but then you can last for, I'm no medic, so I hope I'm using the right words, but anyway, whatever it is, after 3 days you start eating, your body starts using its fat, and then you get thinner and thinner. And so you may have seen these pictures of starving children, and they've probably not had anything to eat for several weeks. And then you get very thin, and you start getting eventually all the fat, and then eventually at the end your body starts eating its muscle as well. That's the very end of it, and you can have serious effects on your health. It'll take a long time to recover if you fast all that length of time, but you can last a long time just on your fat, and so that lasts you maybe 2-3 weeks, maybe more, maybe less. If you're very anorexic, your fat's not going to last you very long at all, and then your body will soon start eating the muscle, and then you're going to die quite soon. So that's why if you're very seriously anorexic, then you're not going to, then it's very important not to fast. But this is the other direction, and this is a chap who he was obviously, as you can see from that picture, he was very huge, and he decided that he wanted to lose certain, he wanted to get down to 180 pounds, I think it was, or something like that. And he said he just decided, and he started fasting. He did short fast, and his doctors advised him, you should only do 4 short fasts, you shouldn't do a long one. And he started on the short fast. He said, this is easy, I enjoy fasting, this feels really good, and I have no problem just keeping on with it. So he went to his doctor and said, can I keep going, please? And he said, well, yes, if you want to, we can give that a go. And so they gave him electrolytes, and then he drank soda water, tea and coffee, and electrolytes and vitamins provided by his doctors in order to keep him in good health. And he didn't eat any food. And he kept this up for 392 days, well over a year. And he could have kept going after that. He reached his target weight of 180, which was his reason for fasting. He wasn't fasting in order to set any record. He was only fasting to lose weight. And when he got down to his target weight, then he stopped. He could have kept going. So if you've got lots of fat, here he is at the end of it. You see, before and after. And then at the very end, he ate a boiled egg, a cup of tea as usual, boiled egg, and a couple of slices of toast. He broke his fast with a single boiled egg and some bread and butter, not the toast and butter, bread and butter, I don't know. Oh, that should be 392. It's 392. I got 382 from Wikipedia, which got it wrong. In an interview, he said, it went down okay. I felt a bit full, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. So, after 392 days, he ate 1 boiled egg and 2 bits of bread and butter, and then he felt very full. So, if you've got lots of fat, you're still not, all you're going to want to eat after 392 days is a boiled egg and a couple of slices of bread, and that'll do you fine. So, I hope this helps you. And that since then, he was in the Guinness Book of Records, but nobody's been in it since then because they just stopped taking it. And they said because its specialist nature, the record title is not generally open for applications to members of the public. And the Wikipedia article said that it's because of safety, but that was just speculation. The Wikipedia article on this is a little bit strange. It sort of adds little speculative asides without explaining that it's not in their site. Wikipedia does that sometimes. So anyway, so I didn't link to them, I linked to the visual story that they summarised. So you don't need to worry about that. So now I want to explain, so you don't need to worry that you're going to die after a couple of days unless your doctor's told you that you must be careful about eating every day. So some people have been told that. In that case, of course, you heed your doctor's advice. And so maybe if you're diabetic or something like that, or if you're very anorexic, then you do need to eat. But apart from that, then most people, then we could just fast for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and depending on the amount of fat, if you're a very fat person, you might be able to fast for a year, with doctor's supervision. So there we are. So hopefully that helps with any of you who are just sort of panicking with this kind of natural instinctive panic. So you don't need to panic. You're not going to die of fasting for a few days or even a week or two. We need water. If you don't drink, then you can die of not drinking enough water, of not drinking water at all. But you can't die of not eating for quite a long time unless you've got medical conditions. So now the other thing is that and people worry that so why are people panic buying? And it's not very clear. People going buying toilet paper and stuff. And what are they worried about? I don't think it's properly thought out. It's just an instinctive thing, or things going bad, we need to go and buy food. Because they They may be worrying a bit about the lockdowns. If the government imposes something on you, then it's their responsibility to make sure that you have the food. The government are there to represent the people. The government are not there to kill their people. It's very basic thing about what governments are. Governments do not kill their population. So your governments, if they do a lockdown, or if they tell you to self-isolate, they have to. It's their responsibility, it's their duty to make sure that you will get food and other necessities. So you don't need to worry about that. And then, if you're worrying, but is the food there? Because everything seems to be kind of slowing down and things. Yes, the food is there. Masses and masses and masses and masses of food. And I just give the example here. These are frozen peas. And this video goes into the way it works. So you get them harvested, they go through various processes, they're frozen, and then they're put in huge stacks. And I think I've got, let's just do the bit video. I have to turn the sound off.
Frosty frozen
peas. Okay, let's go through. Yeah, these are various stages of it. So that's it growing. That's it in the factory, and that's them, making the peas into the thing, and then they can't dry them, and then they freeze them. They do various. See all these peas sort of fiddling around, and so there's another stage of it. And they explain all this here, and that's when it's frozen. But then at the end, there we are. That's now in the frozen peas warehouse. So there's warehouses that are absolutely full of frozen peas, like that, vast amounts. But they're not in a position. You can't go to the door of that factory and say, "Oh, I'd like some frozen peas. Please give me a kilogram of frozen peas," because they're not just equipped. They're not equipped to deal with customers. And it wouldn't work anyway, because you'd have to go to the frozen peas factory to get your frozen peas, and then you have to go to another factory to get something else, another factory to get something else, and you spend all your time going around different factories trying to get your food. So you have these huge warehouses that have enough food to last, enough frozen peas there from the end of the last harvest, last you all the way through to the end of the next harvest, because only at the end of the harvest that they do it. So they have a year's worth of frozen peas in the frozen peas factory. A year's worth for all their customers. And then these go to these big factories, and there's another one. So this is one of these huge factories. This is not yet anywhere near, this is a grocery warehouse, this is not your supermarket. Your supermarket doesn't have space for all this stuff. It's the same thing. Supermarket can't be having lorry loads of stuff. It's in prime estate, often in a city or on the outskirts of a city, and they can't be having huge warehouses for all the food that they need for their customers for the next year, or even for the next month. They wouldn't have it the next year. They'd have, this isn't a year's worth of supplies, because that's at the frozen pea factory or whatever. This is the intermediate stage, where they will ring up the frozen pea factory, say, "Can we have 10 lorries worth of frozen peas? We've run out." And then their customers will say, "Can I have a lorry with a big, half a ton of frozen peas and a quarter of a ton of fish and chips or something, whatever, of fish, frozen, whatever those fish thingies, I forget what they're called, fish fingers, and so on." And then they'll say, "Yes, sure, and can I have another, and we've had a big Russian coffee, so can we have a whole lorry load of coffee?" And say, yes, how many lorry loads do you want? Oh, one will do me fine. So just like you go into your shop, your supermarket, and you get your packet of frozen peas, these supermarkets in turn will be ringing up these places and say, "I need a lorry full of a mix of these different things." And then these factories in turn will be ringing up the frozen peas factory saying, "I need another 10 lorry loads of frozen peas because we're running short." So there's no problem at all with supplies. The only problem is with the logistics of getting it to the people. And all this panic buying is causing major problems with logistics. So normally these warehouses are no problem with a sudden surge, or suddenly somebody wants another couple of tons of frozen peas, who cares? There's been a big surge of frozen peas in in Seattle or something, and so they have to put out another couple of tons of frozen peas there. That's not going to be a problem. But when you've got all over the country, everyone panic buying, or large numbers, at 10% or something panic buying, then these factories are not being able to keep up with it. And that's what's causing the shortages and the empty shelves. And Amazon has employed 100,000 new workers for all the people who are trying to buy it from them. And so that's all that's happening there. So they can handle it. So the suppliers can handle it. They have to supply 4 weeks, a month of worth of food in a week. They can do that, but they have to get lots more people there just manning all the equipment. So they employ lots and lots of temporary workers in order to get all the food out, and just people moving things around and packaging things in order to just literally move stuff from A to B, and lots of lorry drivers driving these things back and forth to the supermarkets where people are then rapidly buying all these things. So that's all that's going on here. So you're not going to run out of food. You're never going to run out of food. And the world has a huge surplus of food. The end of every year, I think about the third, I can't remember if it's less or more, I think it might be more, I'm not sure, about a third of the food you need for a year is surplus. You have a surplus third of a year worth of grains, and for all the major grains, which are staples. And the surpluses of just about everything, except obviously for temporary things like things that just don't last. And so they have been growing toward, but it's not so much of those these days. They find all sorts of ingenious ways of dealing with that. So there's no way we're going to run out of food, and this is all totally illogical. There's no basis for any of this. It's just instinctive panic. And there's no point in it. Just very silly. But our minds aren't very sensible sometimes. And then please, please, please do not buy medical grade masks if you don't need them as a doctor or a nurse, or if you're looking after a patient who has COVID-19 in your own house, then you and the patient should both wear masks, because COVID-19 does not spread very easily. It's not like flu. You won't have it. If your child, brother, sister, mother, father has COVID-19, then or daughter, son, if any of those have COVID-19, you most likely don't have it, and you have to look after them. Then you both need to wear masks. It's not like flu. It's not airborne. It's quite hard to get it, and only about 1 in 10 get it. So that's why you need masks if you're looking after someone who's got COVID-19. So you do need medical masks, but you need to know how to use it, and it's very important to check up on the WHO website how to use a mask, when and how to use masks. You can use low grade, not very high grade masks to just catch your coughs, and that's the main reason. But you can also just cough into your sleep, which pretty much is good. It's just to make sure it doesn't get onto surfaces around you. So, and then this is I've talked about this before, how you protect yourself. COVID-19 is not a microbe, it's a virus. Just a genetic instruction mixed with protein, and it can be destroyed totally. Soapy water just destroys it, it's gone. And if you do these things regularly, like brushing your teeth, you won't get COVID-19. It's not airborne. You may still get colds, you may still get the flu, because that's airborne over a short distance, from a couple of meters. But as long as you wash your hands before you touch your face, touch your eyes, nose, mouth, especially, and try and get out of the habit of touching your face, and stay 1 or 2 meters away from anyone who's coughing, and cough, sneeze into your elbow, then if you do that really, really rigorously, then that's going to stop COVID-19, because it's not airborne. It's got no way to get into you. If you can make sure you do those things and nobody's coughing into your eyes or whatever, then it just literally, there's no way for it to get into you. And then make sure you wash your hands when you get back. Wash your hands. When I get back, I wash my hands. Wash the surfaces I get into the house. So I'll talk about that in a separate video. And so that's enough. And gloves are no good at all. Doctors know how to use gloves. They they discard their temporary gloves at the end of each session, get another one. They know how to put them on and then take them off so as not to infect anyone when they take the gloves off. You're the average person using a glove. You just wear an ordinary glove or something, or even a medical glove. You're not going to know how to use it, and you're not going to be able to keep it up anyway. And just wash your hands. Wash your hands is far more effective for the ordinary person than a medical glove, which is only needed. It's only required in specialist medical settings where you're doing things like intubation, where there's sprays of stuff comes out, and or just various medical procedures, and just all the time very close with the patient. So COVID-19 does not enter through your skin. It only can enter through your eyes, nose and mouth. It's the only way it can get into your body. So anyway, that's that. I just want a short one on this to help people who are doing all this. And so hope this helps you. I'll upload this in a minute. And yes, I'm going to redo my Boris Johnson one, because I've just been watching the WHO video today, and it gives a new slant on it all, which hopefully will help a little bit. And they weren't talking about him at all, but they never criticised any government. But some of the things that they were saying were quite useful to maybe helpfully see how we could possibly move forward in the United Kingdom. Anyway, so you're welcome to join our group, Doomsday Debunked, on Facebook. If you do join, then do read the rules at the head of the group, and remember that you're there. If you're there as a debunker, remember you're there to help the people who are scared. If you're there that's scared, it's very useful to have people who are there to just help someone who's anxious and just talk to them, chat to them. That's very useful in our group. Also factual debunking and being factual, reliable sources. We have too many people come, too many with conspiracy theories. If you're scared of conspiracy theory, we're there to help you, or scared of some strange story. We do not welcome people who come to the group who are trying to promote some idea. So the simple rule we have is that if you're scared of something, then you can ask us for your help. But please don't come and tell us scary things which you're not scared of and you're not asking for help with. And that rule works pretty well. That just eliminates all the people coming with conspiracy theories, because they're basically coming there with scary ideas they want to share, and they're not scared themselves. And if they're not scared themselves, you're just not welcome in our group. You're not permitted to make such posts in our group. There are plenty of other groups where you can go and spread your conspiracy theories. That's not what our group is for. And it's how people are scared, and then help. And then if we debunkers, it's really good if you're good at doing proper sourcing and proper fact checking, and that's really, really helpful. And if you are good at explaining ideas to others. Anyway, so I'll stop with that, and then I'll try and do a somewhat more positive post about the situation in the UK, which is after this in a little while. I'll give it time to kind of adjust. I think with my last post, I sometimes wonder if I'm slightly autistic. I seem to have quite a lot of insight into autistic people, and I'm obviously not autistic in an obvious sense, and I've never been tested, but I sometimes don't have very good insight into my own emotional state, and I think I was a little bit worked up with my last video about Boris Johnson and noticing it after the event, and so I'm going to try a more considered one once I've had time to be calmed down a bit, which is a little bit difficult to tell when you're not quite so introspective about your own emotional state as some people are. I mean, I notice I have a reasonable amount of introspection, but I think slightly less than some people as to what my own emotional state is. I also I find it very difficult to recognise faces. I'm much better than I was, and over the years I've got gradually better at that. Also can be a slightly, I'm not sure if that's a trait, but anyway, if I am, then it's been very useful, because it's helped me to I'm very slightly autistic, then it's very useful because it's helped me to help these other people who to get some insight about how they see things, how they understand things. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this video, and I'll just stop it there.